Hello everyone, welcome to second part of Introduction to MOPs tutorial. So in the first part we did this 3-voice piece. I will just keep it low. So in the first one we made a small melodic sequence, and then we created a kick and we created a hi-hat. So I will continue directly now with the fourth one, which I think it's the most important one. We will talk in the way why I find it the most important. So just to start, I will just simply mute this and start. So I will start with something called a clock divider. So a clock divider is very straightforward. It will simply divide incoming clock signal to some values. So in order to show you, so the first one is always, if you hover over, you can see the outputs, which is the division. But if we see, so this is the original, if you put an all, sorry, this is the original clock signal. And for example, if I take this one, it's divided by 2, so it's always hitting in the second, every second one. So it's like, you get the idea. If it's divided by, for example, 4, then we will have a slower clock, right? So it takes the same clock and it just divides it. So, and for this I want to use this to create an event. For example, hi-hat is hitting in every clock signal that we have, since clock is triggering every gate. And with this, I want something opposite. I want to be only use this divided by 4 output, and then use a step sequencer as we did before, and I only want this step sequencer to hit in the first note. So what I want to create is something like, if it's, when it hits, it will slowly decay until here in the last step, and then when it's like almost to 0, then it will hit again. So I will have like something closer to like a sustained sound. But since in the simple envelope that I have, MOPs, yes, I still don't have a sustain parameter, because I generally don't use it too much. I think to start with, to attack and release is enough. But of course, in the full version of MOPs, which I will be releasing in several weeks, I will include another envelope that has a sustain stage as well. But for now, we don't have a sustain stage, but we can have a long decay. So if we can delete this, I will put it again. But let's first talk about the wavetable synthesis. And I think wavetable oscillator is one of the most important one, because this is a wavetable oscillator is one of the like a digital synthesis techniques, and I find it like native to TouchDesigner, since TouchDesigner, what we do is like digital synthesis as well, so it fits really well. So I will just take this audio out, and I will use this to here. Okay. As you can hear, we are hearing a sine wave, because right now we can see that it's a sine wave as well. We don't see any other indicator that this is a sine wave in here, not like our traditional oscillator. We don't have option to select a waveform in a wavetable oscillator. Instead, we have banks that I created, which I will create more, because this is so much fun to create banks of waveforms. And I will talk a little bit about what's inside as well, but let's talk a little bit why we call it wavetable and why it is important. So basically what a wavetable oscillator does, so before we hear, I just want to show what it does is it just takes a wave, and then if we like use this position. As you can see, with the position is moving forward throughout the table. That's why it's called like a wave table. It's which I will show again inside, but it's a table that contains lots of waveforms inside, and we are interpolating between them. So every time I change the position, it changes the waveform, which makes like it changes the timbre, right? So this is actually, let's hear it. I think it's better to hear it as well. The sine wave to like a triangle, sawtooth to square wave, and then a little bit complex waves that I created. Not very complex, but let's stop this. Come on, yeah, okay. The best thing about this is to have having the ability to change this position, so it just creates movements, which is very, very important in synthesis, that you always create modulation sources and movements. So even this is pretty fun, and I have different banks. Like this was just a basic bank, but I made like an harmonic, which will add harmonics to a sine wave. And then I have a formant. It creates just formants, like IO, like formant, and then some complex waves that you can change between them. Okay, so this is wavetable synthesis. Wavetable oscillator that I have, and I will start by creating a base of it. Yes, it really works well with low oscillation sounds. Okay, let's create the sound. It's too silent right now, so it was 55. The position that I want to be around like 3, 7, like around here. And then this is the important one. It's the CV amount. So if you remember the CV, it still says CV. It should be CD. Okay, this will go to nodes as well. But if we hover over, yes, the CD is here. So this position CD, the control data. So every time we input a control data, it will automatically change this position as we did before. So I can take, if you remember, we had our LFO that we used before to create a little bit of movement in the first melody. So I can use the second part of the second phase of the LFO. By the way, just to show you briefly, so it's just a 4-phase LFO. It's the same LFO that uses the same clock, but it just the outputs are a little bit phased out. So I find it's very useful to use something like that to create more movements that still work in between, but they are not the same. So I will just use the second out phase 2 to directly to post CD. And if we unmute and slowly add the CV amount. Yeah. Okay. All right. As you can hear, every time LFO is moving, it just changes the waveform as well. So even this creates a good movement that we can use, right? Maybe instead of complex, it can be 4-month complex. It doesn't matter. I think in my first example, it was 4 months. So let's put it to 4-month for now. And then the rest is easy. We just need to simply copy and paste, because I want to use the third one to create a new, the same idea, a new waveform. Let's mute it. Let's mute it like this. Okay. Like it will have the same frequency and maybe the same position, a little bit of around here, and then we can change this to harmonic, so it's different wave, and then I can copy and paste, use the fourth one, and then change this to, now we can change it to complex, same around same position, same CV amounts, maybe a little bit more, so it moves more. Yeah, so basically, if you remember, before we used a mixer to mix everything, so I can use a 4-channel mixer here, and the result will be it's nice. It just adds everything between. It just like takes the average of everything that we are inputting. It's nice, but now we can go like this TouchDesigner. We can go crazy. So that's the idea. We can go more creative. So that's why I have a mixer called a creative mixer. So what a creative mixer does is it functions same as a normal 4-channel mixer. It just takes for audio in maximum and then out 1. But what it does, what is the main difference is it has the same mixer things like the levels, and the main difference is that we can have different kind of operations, that how we want to mix the waveforms. So if you see operation A to B, which means that the first one it will mix these two, and then for the third one it will take the sum, or what is the result of A and B, and then it makes this operation to what happens to A and B. So every time we add more, it will just add and add. So let's hear it before we continue. So the idea, adding is the same. And I will only show right now, I want to only show the A and B, so we understand the possibilities that we can do. So multiplying, difference, maximum, minimum, different qualities, division, divide, taking the average, the absolute difference, and the AND gate, which is my favorite. So the idea is with this, the combinations that you can find is crazy. For example, okay, before the combinations, I just want to briefly talk about the safety as well. So I have a hard clipping so that it will, even with crazy operations, if you multiply the things or add them on top of each other, it will always keep them with -1 and 1, but you can change. If you want a soft clipping or a hard clipping, it will change the sound a little bit. But let's go with the combination that I did. I think I did to taking the maximum of this and taking the average with the thing. So if we hear it, yes. This is the sounds that I like, because it almost goes to pulsing, very small. Yes, these ones I like it a lot. It almost thins out the sound a lot, so that think it creates interesting things, but you can always experiment whatever you want, and you will find very different results. And again, experiment with having this as well. You will clearly hear, like, this is soft limiting and hard limiting. Hard limiting is harder. Okay, so this is it. I think this is for me the most interesting parts, and from now on we can actually create the simple envelope, and then use this gate out to trigger the envelope. And again, what I want with this envelope is to have fairly long attack. I mean longer than, like, it's not like a plugin, and then a very long decay, like 9000. And I want to change the attack shape to linear, and then to the S curve. So why? So we will see, like, linear will go right away, and then the S curve will stay more compared to others in the up. So now I will just open, put an amplitude, and then put this to here. So it decays, goes back, and then decays, and then goes back. Okay, for now this is okay. We need something that is very important, because even with talking, and I think in the post I will make the sound a little bit lower for your ears, but still it's so harsh right now, right? It's harsh. So always, if something is harsh, you can put a low pass filter so that everything is more, like, safer. I can make bass cutoff to 900, and I can use this as well, so that every time it hits, it goes higher. Yeah. Maybe it's too high right now because it's 4, so I can just make it to something around here. Maybe no resonance, so that we don't hear anything else. Okay, a little bit more better, a little bit more tidy. And then lastly, in order to create the space, I want to put a delay. This time I don't want to sync it. I want to use it to create like a space, so I can just like have a short left and maybe a longer right, so that the difference in between maybe a little bit more feedback, and then a little bit more drive it. Okay, so we have our pads, and the last thing that we need is, since we already have an input here, the last thing that we need, that the same things that we already had, which was a side chain. So I will just copy the side chain as we did before, and then just I will take the stereo delay out as the voice, and then put it to here. So okay, all right, it immediately puts everything in between, and instead of this I will put the mixer, and then the mixer. Yes. I want to hear channel one more. Okay, and maybe a little bit more delay. Okay. We are nearly there. Everything works well. We just need to make small changes. but depending on your computer, there is one issue that I want to talk, and I think it's very important about MOPs that I created. Again, if we go in, you will find that I created a visualizer using very basic like chop the pop, right? To create this like more monochromatic look that I really like, but depending how much, like depending on your computer, it can make your FPS go down. So normally, you know that what you can do is, okay, you can always close the viewer active, but I really like to see what I'm doing as well. So that's why instead of the viewer active, I put every operator a tab called viewer. So if you open this, it will switch between the chop viewer as like a traditional chop viewer of TouchDesigner or to my viewer. So this will drastically change the FPS drops. If you have FPS is dropping, you can just switch always to chop viewer. It will make everything easy for your computer, and you will notice that you will have a little bit of change in pitch when the FPS is changing. This happens. This is something normal because in TouchDesigner the cooking time it's like it ties to FPS, and in some operators this FPS drop will affect. For example, if I'm using mats, like it depends on the operator, or like script chop, or but if I use only audio oscillator, it won't affect too much. So like, but in general, it will be affected. So it doesn't matter that if you are 60 or 30 or 40 or 50, but the most important thing is if you want to have a steady FPS, then you don't have too much change. But I really like that if we have a small fluctuations, like if it goes to like 58 sometimes and goes back to 60, it creates this more like organic randomness. So like I think that kind of a thing I really like. Okay, small other things that to finish up the sound parts of this patch. So we saw this. The first thing is right now everything comes from middle, right? I have a panning, so I can pan, and this is already creates like a space. You can guess that I can use an LFO. So what I want to do, that I want to use my LFO that I put in here, that we are using in everywhere. I want to take out a null, and then use that null to pan the same LFO. So like everything is synced, the BPM with the song, so even the panning is synced. And if we open now, oh, sorry, the rest. So this, a kick needs to come from the middle, but maybe with hi-hat we can have the same idea, but maybe not the same movement. We can take another phase and then use this to change this. Yeah. And then if I not solo, maybe mute this and mute this, we can hear together that they are like, it sounds like they are chasing each other, right? But still creating a movement. And then, yeah, even this adds more. And the last thing that I want to show you is the performance mode. It's not a mode, but like how to create, doing the same thing, maybe closing the kick off, wait, and then hit. a little bit early, but this is the idea. But instead of the mouse, we can create keystrokes, right? Like keyboard in, I can use like one, put a logic, and let's make it a little bit lower. Put a logic, and this will automatically, no, of course not automatically. I need to change this to toggle from channel preset up, and then a null. So every time I press 1, it will make it a toggle. So I can use this, for example, 1 to mute the melody. Yeah. And close again. So let's open this. Mute. Unmute. Yeah. And we can create the same idea, but right now I can use 2 and then use this null for channel 2, which is the kick. Or if you want, you can make the kick the 1, like however you want in terms of the order. But channel 3, we can make this and then copy, paste, change this to 4, and then change this so that I can have, for example, I can start with something like this and then wait a little bit and then maybe enter the melody. Now a little bit late, but and this is something that I am developing right now, so it will be in the full version. As I said, it will be out in a couple of weeks, most probably in the second half of September or maybe first half of September. That even the keystrokes will be always, it will wait until the next clock input, so that you don't have to be in like on time all the time, at least with the keyboards. And then maybe I can start with hi-hats, right? Okay, so now I can mute everything from here. So that's it for the second part. That will conclude the sound part. I will have a third part next week, and in the third part I will be showing how I am making the visualization in the original file. If you remember, if I put it to here, and if I play it, maybe it will be a little bit too loud. Yes. Okay, we came pretty close. Yeah, and in the next part of the tutorial, we will talk about how I made this like oscilloscope kind of style, and like if you can notice that it has some tricks. It's pretty straightforward, but we will talk how to visualize MOPs, how to visualize sound in the next part. So it will be only a Patreon exclusive release. So if you are already in my Patreon with MOPs, thank you to being here, and you will be having the third part of the tutorial sometime next week. And around next week or in 2 weeks, I will be releasing another tutorial, but it's a detailed explanation of MOPs using the example file that I ships with MOPs. So we will talk about some examples, what you can do, and after that, in the start, during the release of the full version, we will talk more about how we can use pop oscillator or pop sequencer to create sequences directly with circle pop. Even this will start creating sequences right now. But we will talk about how we can use it, how it works and everything, and more, of course. Okay, Thank you and see you in the next one.